I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned Europe freezing to death. Today it was announced that the EU has signed on to a formal price cap of Russian energy. And this comes after the disastrous, which I've heard you speak about as well, the disastrous sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines. And of course, right, Russia is being blamed for this. And a lot of the world believes that the United States, NATO, had something to do with it. Could you go over the problem here? Like, what is the significance of this these pipelines being basically taken out? What are your thoughts about that situation? And then the consequences ongoing, because this is a development that's been happening for several months now during this special military operation. The EU has been kind of the US's poodle, the US's servant in a lot of ways. And uh, the situation is very grim. So could you talk about that? Maybe I would love to get your thoughts about it.
Well, let's just start off with, again, first principles here. The EU, the United States, NATO, the G7, they're all the same thing. They're all wrapped in the same cloak of basically working solely for the benefit of the singular American hegemony. So America is dictating policies and such. They have collectively denigrated Russia as being little more than a gas station disguised as a country. Okay, I mean, first of all, it's wrong, but let's just play the cute little game. If you're going to call Russia a gas station, then you should at least respect them as a gas station, especially when you're an automobile and that's the only gas station around. And if you want to start cutting yourself off, sanctioning the gas station, you're going to find yourself in the middle of nowhere on a 4-lane highway with an empty tank and nowhere to go. And that's where Europe is right now. The hubris of Europe to think that they could put a price cap on Russian energy, it's just ridiculous. It's going to backfire. These are people who've already dug the deepest hole possible, and they're just continuing to dig the hole deeper. The only solution for Europe was to go back to Russian energy. That was the only solution. There's no other option out there. There's nothing viable that's going to save them from this. And that's what happened with why the United States struck Nord Stream. And I'll tell you why I believe it. Well, first of all, let's just talk about that for a second. There are people sitting in jails around the world who have been convicted on circumstantial evidence that is weaker than the circumstantial evidence that we have regarding America's role in striking the Nord Stream pipelines. First of all, we have a clear statement of intent from the President of the United States himself, who said that if Russian tanks cross into Ukraine, he will shut down Nord Stream 2. It will stop functioning. That's the intent. Then we have a clear statement of motive from Secretary of State Blinken, who said, oh, well, it's too bad he got shut down, but this is a great opportunity. We should view this as a wonderful opportunity, a chance to do things that we always said we wanted to do. And he's supported by statements made by Victoria Nuland, like Condoleezza Rice. So we know that there's been motive. It's not just a crime of passion. This is a crime that's been considered for some time. It's premeditated murder is what it is. So there's motive for premeditation. Then we have the means. The U.S. Navy holding exercises right over the spot where the attacks occurred. Underwater exercises using the very technology that would be needed to do this. So I could indict the United States and I could win at trial because there's not a jury out there that would say, nah. I think really the nation that built the pipeline did it. The nation that benefits from the pipeline's existence did it. And remember, how does it benefit from the existence? You say, well, it didn't pump. It's not pumping gas. I mean, the Russians, maybe they wanted to, stop the, well, they already did. It's called an on-off switch. If Russia doesn't want to have gas flowing to Europe, they hit the off switch. But Russia wants gas flowing. How do we know? The Russians said, we want to sell you gas. We want to have Nord Stream 2 up and running. And what was happening? The German people, angered by the policies of their government, were going to the streets. And they were starting to demand that their governments turn on Nord Stream 2. And any democracy where you have the people demanding something, a politician that fails to, comply with the demands tends to get voted out of office, removed from office. And German politicians were starting to make noises as maybe we need to do something here. So what did the United States do? Took the decision out of their hands. Pop, 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 pop. No more Nord Stream 2, no more Nord Stream 1. So even if the German government wanted to turn on the pipeline, they can't. And that's what the United States did here. They did it. Now, I think this is just going to make matters worse for Germany right now, because Germany literally has no options now. There's nothing they can do. The United States can't provide enough liquid natural gas to compensate. Germany can't afford the prices that will be charged for this. So Germany's doomed, literally doomed. Their economy is going to shut down. Hundreds, if not thousands of people are going to die this winter, from exposure. And who's to blame? The United States, 110%. It's the Americans' fault. And the sad thing is, all of Europe knows it. This isn't a secret. Even in the United States, where we pretend, the Russians did. Well, Michael Rubin just wrote an article in the National Interest where he said, hey, maybe Biden should do to Turk Stream, the Turkish pipeline that feeds gas into Southern Europe, what he did to Nord Stream 2. He doesn't say what he did, but we know what he means. Blow it up. He said so he clearly said Biden shut down Nord Stream 2. Biden did it. Well, why? Because Biden said he was going to do it. But now we're talking about backing the Turks. We declared war on Europe. That's just a statement of fact. We declared war on Europe. We destroyed a $12 billion piece of European energy infrastructure. We have condemned the German economy to collapse, a collapse that hasn't been seen since the end of the Second World War. We're responsible. Right now, the German political and economic elites aren't willing to divorce America. They can't. They're like an abused spouse. They just keep coming back for more. But over the course of this winter, I think you're going to see these political elites removed from office. I think you're going to see these economic elites becoming irrelevant, because you're not too elite of an economist when your economy is collapsing. And they're going to be replaced by new power structures that will be more inclined to view the United States as the problem and Russia as the solution. So I believe in the long term, this will backfire dramatically for the United States, that there's no way the United States walks away from this unscathed, because right now, the damage to Germany is still theoretical. At some point in time, it becomes reality, and that reality brings with it a political consequence.